With the Munda track now complete and the gates are locked and 2 vehicles escaping with a bit of damage, our intended next destination was in fact further north and more remote, up to a place called Honeymoon Bay. However, due to the vehicles being in the state that they are, we need to get them back to Broome to get them repaired, and there's just not enough time to do that and head back out. So unfortunately, it's time to head back to Broome, but there are some places on the way. Bell Gorge is one of those. So our next camp is Silent Grove, just before Bell Gorge, where we may have to split the group. Rightio, so we've all aired up. We're on the Gibb River Road now. 35 psi rear, 32 front, about 80 to 90 kilometers per hour, back to Derby. On the way, we're going to stop at some places, which I already mentioned. Now, as I said earlier, I was going to mention some of the gear I'm testing mainly on this trip. I was going to let you know about it. So my final words about the end of flat kit, which I've been testing out. Really cool piece of kit. I love it. Airs down, airs up, 2 tyres at once, which is perfect in my situation because I have different PSI in the rear and the front. So I really rate this, and I will more than likely do a review on this later on. I just want to do, a bit of a longevity test, a couple more months. All right, there's the vehicle coming. I've been beeped off the road, so better hit the Gibb River Road now. I've arrived at Bell's Gorge, turning right, heading north. Before we knew it, we were at Silent Grove, which is just 30 kilometres from Bell Gorge, which is our camp for tonight. It really seemed like time was just flying by. Now, being so late in the afternoon, we didn't have ample light to go and check out Bell Gorge. And this campfire will be the last campfire with the entire group in one place. More on that tomorrow morning. So we're more or less all packed. Breakfast down. The boys have to go to Broome to repair the chassis on Nathan's Land Cruiser. Torben has to follow him because he's towing the boat. Because you can't tow the boat with a cracked chassis, obviously. So we are still going to go to Bell's Gorge this morning. They're going to hightail it to Broome, so they've got about 450 k's to do, and then they got to weld that chassis up. Meanwhile, we will be heading halfway there and camping elsewhere, and then we'll meet up with them in Broome on Monday. So we are splitting the convoy. And Monday being 2 days from now. You'll be wrong, mate. With the group split up, the other boys heading to Broome, it was now time for us to head to Bell Gorge. Now, what is Bell Gorge? Well, Bell Gorge is one of those must-see places that are off the Gibb River Road. And let's go and find out what this is all about and how good it actually is. One thing I am slightly concerned about is being such a place you must see off the Gibb River Road. I expect this place to be very busy. We are currently on the walking track to Bell's Gorge. It consists of 2 tracks, walking tracks that is. One is 1 hour return and the other is 2 hour return. So how it works is you do the first part and then you got an option to do the second part. When you do the second part, you get down to the water, so you can go for a swim, and that is what we intend on doing. Not sure how the older generation behind us will fare on that, but we'll see what they feel like when they get to the viewing platform, which is part one of it.
Well, I can tell why it's pretty popular. I'm actually pretty impressed already. But now we've got to find a way to get down there and go for a bit of a swim.
It's a bit of a mission to get around. We're getting there. So this is a class 5 walking trail. I'm glad I wore my boots and not my thongs or flip-flops. So instead of crocs laying on the bank, we got people. Hopefully they don't bite like the crocs, because I'm going for a swim. Oh, that's amazing. Gibb is busy, very, very busy. So Bell's Gorge, what's my take on that? Definitely worth seeing, definitely. And if you're going in there, you've got to go all the way down and go for a bit of a swim. Definitely worth it, regardless if you bring the wife and kids or if you're there on your own. But expect big crowds. When we left, there was about, I don't know, almost 10 buses. There were a lot of people there. So it is a very popular place and very easy to get to, because the Gibb River Road isn't that difficult to drive on, but it is hard on your vehicle, as I have already mentioned. So I may as well talk a bit about Gibb River Road. So if you're going to do this road, you're going to want good tyres, newer tyres, and you got to get your pressures right. You must get your pressures right, and you got to also know how to feel your vehicle, so you know when you have a flat. Sometimes you can't always hear it. Sometimes it sounds like you got a flat, but you don't. And you may have a flat, and the only way you can tell is if the vehicle's leaning backwards or forwards.
All this time driving on the Gibb River Road and many other tracks with even worse corrugations than the Gibb River Road has,
I think it's time for a chat about corrugations and how to tackle them.
Alright, so I'm just demonstrating corrugations, what they really are. That's good. So imagine that for a long period of time. Now the Gibb River Road isn't really that bad, in all honesty. It's just got some patches on it, but there's a good example of corrugations here. There's quite a big difference here. And what actually causes corrugations are the vehicles driving on it. So as soon as there's one bump, the vehicle goes over at high speed, the tyre will lift up and come down again and create another one. And this is a ever repeating process. And eventually you get these corrugations that are just constantly, like some people might call them washboard driving. So what this can do to your car or your vehicle is quite a bit actually. You really need to check everything on your vehicle, all your bolts, roof rack bolts, tray mounts, a lot of things, because this stuff here can rattle your vehicle to bits, literally. So how to combat corrugations? It's quite simple. I've mentioned it already. Basically what you need to do, you need to find that perfect pressure. So if your highway pressure, well, I'll give you my example. My highway pressure when I'm loaded and I'm heading out somewhere is between 45 to 50 psi. I'll go right up to the maximum. It all depends on how much I have on it. But when I hit corrugations, I'll drop it 10 straight away. So at the moment I'm 35 and 32. 35 rear, 32 front. And that seems to be perfect for about 80 clicks an hour. So 80 kilometers per hour, 35 psi on the back, 32 on the front, and that works out really well for me. Now for other vehicles, they might drive around on 30 psi as normal. So they will need to go a bit lower, but you can't go too low. If you go too low and you're driving too fast, you're going to wreck your tyres. So you've got to find that medium. So if you do lower your tyres for corrugations and you are sub 30 psi, you should not go over 80 kilometers per hour for long durations of time, because you will wreck your tyres eventually. Another thing as well, your tyres will heat up, and when your tyres, they'll heat up from bouncing up and down, and when they heat up, the air inside your tyres will actually expand. So you may think you had 35 psi in, or they were when they were cold, but now that they've been jumping around, bouncing around and flexing and heating up, they've probably got more like 40 psi in them. But that's fine, as long as it feels comfortable. There's a car coming, so I'm going to get off the road. Now you hear all that rattling? All that rattling is everything on your vehicle that's just being shaken around. You don't really notice it when you're inside the vehicle because it's kind of muffled a bit, but when you watch people drive past, that's when you really realise how much your car really rattles, and when you go to slow down. When you're driving this stuff, your tyres only really contact the ground sometimes 10% of the time. So when you do that little swerve to go around a pothole, you may end up from one side of the road to the other side of the road. So just be aware of that, because it's quite scary the first time you do it. We better get back in the vehicles and head on to Wheeling Creek. Before I hop in the cruiser and go, you see that over there? That's called Queen Victoria's Head, or Queen Victoria Head. Kind of looks like a face from here, and you can see it from both sides. Just pull over on the Gibb River Road, found a nice spot right near some boab trees. Making a sandwich with my bushmade bread. Well, these are some fruit from the boab trees. Now, boab trees are protected, so we're not allowed to take these with us. We're just having a look at them throw them back on the ground afterwards. So as you can see, there's some fruit up there. One thing that I will definitely recommend for any kind of travelling is to have something you can easily pull out, and just like a pull-out table or something. Then you can go roadside and knock something like this up in no time. This has taken me 5-10 minutes maybe to knock this up. The other boys from the Jeep, they're over here doing their own thing as well. So this setup I've done here has really paid off and really works, because I used to skip lunches a lot. We'd be driving along, we'd pull over. The guys who have the quick setup, they'd have to cook up some noodles or something like that. I'll be using my pre-prepared sandwiches. But when you are out here for 20 days or even just a week, you're going to run out of your pre-made sandwiches. So you need to make your own stuff. And just having everything just to come out and it's right there, it makes life so much easier. So as far as my setup goes, I'm going to keep it like this. This is perfect. It's worked out. Took a long time to get there though. A long time. Our final camp before we reach Broome. Another thing to tick off the list. Camping amongst boab trees. That's something I had on my list. Last night, finally get to do it. We are actually on a private property, a cattle station, which is just off the Broome to Derby highway. Found it on the HEMA maps. We're in here. Heaps of other people are down by the river. Now there is no swimming warnings everywhere down there, because the estuarine crocs are around here, salties. So you do not want to be swimming around here or camping too close to the bank. I'm not actually sure if the river is salt water from the ocean or if it's in fact fresh water running out to the ocean. I don't even know if it's affected by the tides. I would guess it is, but I'm not sure. So right now it's time to find firewood, which there isn't much of here. We didn't really get a chance to even think about it on the way in, so we may have to go for a bit of a drive, but we are scavenging up enough around here just to start it. Alright, so conclusion wise, this swag, or bunker tent I should say, just like that. Pull these tabs up. So that's the mesh part. And then this bit here, just throw it over. Now the cool thing is these days is I get some items sent to me, you know, as product placement or testing or whatnot. And the good thing about it is, well, I get to try different things out, because camping here costs a lot of money. But I suppose the good thing for you guys is that you will get an honest review from me about these kind of tents and stuff. Now, this particular one here, I'm just going to put these clips on the bottom here. I'll just do 3 of those and it's done. This particular bunker tent here, for the Kimberley climate, where it's not really too cold during the day, this is actually really, really good. And I've never used to like sleeping on a stretcher, but this stretcher here seems to be a bit softer, but I am using a mattress with it. Now, I won't give you a full detailed review on it because there are a lot of things I like about it, but there are also some things I don't like about it, and I will tell you those in a review with it, but I can't review it yet because I need a rainy day. I haven't had a rainy day yet. I need to know if the water will pool here or what I need to do to avoid water from going into it. So I could bang on about this, well right now I could bang on about this for 15 minutes about all the pros and cons with it, but I need to test it in rain, and once I've done that a few times I will do a review on this, and hopefully it comes through the rain really well because I actually really like this. Okay, so the mattress I'm using with this swag, which is something new to me as well. I've never tried these actual self-inflatable mattresses, and I'm actually quite impressed. Now this one here I paid for myself. It was on special, half price. The price it was, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But now knowing how good it is, I probably would have seriously considered it. You basically just crack the valve here. Pop it in, lay it out, and then when I'm ready to go to bed, I'll throw my sleeping bag in and off we go. That sleeping bag is a +6 degree bag, so in a proper southern Australian winter, not very good, but up here and everywhere else, you know, it's only 2 months a year, it's no good.
This was our last night in the Kimberley. Bit of a shame because we still had a few more days up our sleeve, but with the vehicles in the state that they are, we need to get them back to Broome. So right now we are packing up and we are going to head back to Broome and catch up with Nathan, Juha and Torben, and of course Andy. So let's find out if they made it back in one piece and if they have fixed the chassis. After a long morning drive, we got back to Broome and we caught up with Nathan and Juha. These are all the welds that they have done to his vehicle to fix it so he can tow the boat home. That wasn't the only thing that went on his Land Cruiser on the way back on the Gibb River Road. Somewhere in the last 450 kilometres, he lost the bolt pins at the bottom of his shock mounts. So he's been driving without shocks on part of the Gibb River Road. But that is now sorted with brand new pins, and it's time for us to get to Cable Beach.
Alrighty, so here we are, Cable Beach, up in Broome. We made it back. Now of course, Nathan and Juha with the boat and the Land Cruiser, they had to go home a bit early because of vehicle problems. They need to get back to Perth as soon as possible. We on the other hand are up here just for today, and then we're going to make our long journey home.
I really hope you enjoyed this series as much as I did making it. The trip really was an adventure. Good fun, great times, and a few sketchy times too. So thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to my Patreon supporters on Patreon. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. So if you'd like to join these guys in making more of these things possible, you can go to patreon.com/RonnieDale. Please do subscribe, which also goes a long way to help, and share the videos. That's another way to help out. There's a 6-part series down there if you haven't watched it yet. I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.